Hello, my name is Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we continue our look at Marvel Champions with an actual deck building guide this time for Spider-Woman. Last week we gave you an overview of this game bending hero and what her dual aspect nature brought to the design space. And this week we're going to go full deck tech with not one but two aspect combos to chew on. So in the spirit of inclusivity, I vow to make sure each of the four aspects gets some love today, just how Spider-Woman would want it. If she can include all four colours of the rainbow in her signature cards, then I can include them all in two decks. My OCD is purring right now, but let's get on with it. So starting in alphabetical order, I began ruminating on what would make a good dance partner for aggression. Well, they're good at damage, and so justice could help me with the threat, right? Well, that being absolutely true, I had a different date lined up for our yellow bordered friends. I decided instead that leadership would make the best co-parent in this deck, allowing aggression and its proactive playstyle to be complemented by the let's bring our buddies and fill in the weaknesses approach. So remember, half of our signature cards are a sprinkling of everything and provide a sandboxy platform. So in fact we don't need to do much of a primer on the first 15 on the team sheet. You can just go and watch that video if you haven't already when you so desire. Remember as well that Spider-Woman is going to benefit a great deal from a low resource curve, allowing you to get at least two activations of her superhuman agility each turn. All that's left is to highlight the key cards we're bringing, and as I've already mentioned, A for aggression comes at the very start. Press the Advantage is a wonderfully synergistic card. In isolation it's okay, but somewhat overstretched by all the things it wants to do for a buck. But when you pay that cost to not only buff your hero and sprinkle a little damage, but also draw you a card, at least when played in tandem with Pheromones or Spider Girl, then we're on to a winner here. Relentless Assault does what it says on the tin, mirroring the 5 damage for 2 resources found on her signature card, but only allowing you to target minions. Thank the Spider Lord then that you're packing 12 pieces of cardboard with physical icons on them, because there's nothing worse than wasted damage, leaving you confident you'll be doing some overkill damage in all but very few instances. Which leaves us with 2 variations on a theme, Skilled Strike and Combat Training. The former giving you in effect 3 attack for 0 resources is a no-brainer, and once again showing that Spider-Woman can elevate otherwise mundane cards, and the latter boasts the too good to not bring to the party passive bonus to your attack. As for leadership, well, where better to start than with those blue bordered allies. Maria Hill, Squirrel Girl and Wonder Man all have one thing in common, they're cheap as chips. Ms Hill brings 2 thwart and a sweet enter the battlefield ability. Squirrel Girl is sometimes pretty meh, at least when you're facing no minions, but against some villains can be a beast, so she gets the nod. And then there's Wonder Man. Now you'll find yourself unlucky on occasion not to be able to play cards from 2 different aspects in a turn. And this is where Wonder Boy comes to save the day. Okay, I'll sack a card for 3 damage, no problem. The dynamic duo of Get Ready and Make the Call brings some welcome cycling abilities for your hero. All but one of your allies have at least 2 attack or thwart, and so getting multiple activations out of them, often killing them in the process, is sweet gravy, because you can bring them back to extract even more value straight from the bin. Finally, Lead from the Front is a card I've mixed feelings about since the core set was released, but here with your average number of low costing allies, a resource cost of 2 and a buff-tastic stat increase for your hero, there's just too much benefit for you in leaving this on the sidelines. So there you have the staple cards of our aggression leadership build. You'll find a link in the description to take a look at all 30 cards laid out for your pleasure. We meanwhile are going to talk next about a delicious green and yellow combo. When I think about protection, I think about slow and steady wins the race. Not that they're not capable of doing burst damage, but it definitely promotes a back foot style of play, and the longer you drag a game out, the more stress that puts on your game plan with threat. As such, I'm happy to announce that your lucky partner tonight is Lady Justice. Now, what cards would I normally find in a protection build? Ah yes, Energy Barrier and Indomitable. Now, not every green bordered staple made its way into this deck. Obviously there's not enough room, but these two bring some welcome damage reflection, which I think we can all agree is value for awesome, and a means for you to defend and ready your hero, which, as we already covered last time, is super synergistic with Spider-Woman. I ummed and ahed between this and Desperate Defense because I was worried we might get caught out with a slightly low defense come the villain phase, but it A, allows you to play it in the hero phase, which is what we want for her ability, and B, it's not situational. You're ready in your hero either way, even if you've taken some chip damage. Our remaining two notable cards are Momentum Shift and Brother Voodoo. Now, the former doesn't make its way into that many decks, but again it's an event you play in the hero phase that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, that inherently increases its overall value. Now, because we're not going full hunker down like you might in a mono prot deck, there's definitely something to be said for the chugging forward that this card affords. And Brother Voodoo was made for this deck. Finding one of 17 event cards when searching the top 5 is money in the bank, and being able to thwart for a total of 4 at a cost of 3 resources is a nice cherry on top. Transitioning to Justice means taking a look at Clear the Area and Beat Cop. The first of which you could certainly argue is best in a mono Justice deck because it benefits from keeping right on top of the villain's threat. But to be fair, we packed a great deal of thwarting into this deck, so I think we'll be just fine. Beat Cop, on the other hand, is everything I love about a Marvel Champions card. Let's call it situational consistency. The idea of banking threat and unleashing it on the first minion that looks at you the wrong way is like protection from another mother. Did I say I like this card? Yes, it costs 3, but putting that aside, much respect, Copper. It's girl power time next with Jessica Jones and Quake. Now, it's very easy to forget that the antisocial Ms. Jones can bring 2 attack 3 times for the price of a stick of gum. So instead of fixating on her wildly up and down scheming ability, we're going to say, wow, she works well in this deck. Quake is not dissimilar in that regard. She can attack well, but if you want to scheme Mr. Minion, then I'm going to slap you up the face. All that's left to discuss is Agent Coulson and his partner in crime, Spycraft. Now, Mr. Phil was a late inclusion to the deck because he needs preparation cards to fully spread his wings, and there wasn't much doing in that regard. Thankfully, I warmed to the extremely useful Spycraft's inclusion in our 40 cards, and the rest, they say, was history. It's easy to underestimate Spycraft, but it scales so well at higher difficulty and can be an absolute lifesaver if you draw the wrong card at the wrong time. And we should all know by now the cards you initially play in the hero phase are Spider-Woman's best friend. Again, you'll find a link to the Protection Justice deck in the comments below, but there you have it. 2 deck ideas for the price of 1 video. Man, is she a fun identity to play. I really do hope you enjoyed this 2-part look at Spider-Woman. Let me know in the comments how you've been faring getting her to the table. However, that's it from me. I'll see you next time.